yourself this question. What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Let's go! We ready! We ready! We ready! We ready! I'm going to the house! I'm going to the house! When I step on the field, I send one message. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. Football is getting hit. That's it. It's gonna be football now. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? It's hot now. It's hot now. Hot.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear.
All right. That's good.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm ready when you are. I wasn't sure what time you wanted me actually in the studio, but
you know what? You here? Let's roll.
Okay, I'm with it.
I apologize again, girl. I couldn't even sleep last night.
No, it's all good. It's been a busy time. Yeah, but it's all good.
And I wish Kev was here so you could see him, because you like, young man, I'm gonna fix you.
He need to hit me up on social media and find me, because it's been part of the process of me, engaging and being my own kind of brand and business too, of just learning these little pieces, and it'll help him out in the long run for what's his major?
Mass communication.
It'll help him out. And if he's going to continue to do things like, okay.
We're live on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM, streaming live on KYOKradio.org. We're also live on Facebook at Lunch Break KYOK, and on YouTube, The Lunch Break with AJ Jones. And we didn't want to wait. We didn't want to hesitate. We definitely don't like to procrastinate. We got our special guest joining us. It is none other than Rebecca Harris. Rebecca, how you doing, first of all?
Man, I'm doing great. The energy that you've just brought to the table, I'm going to make sure that I match it and I'm good here. But yeah, I'm doing really good. Can't complain.
Hey, no problem. See, I play that Ray, that hype music before I get started. And when he say, let's go, by God, let's go, it's hard to, be low key after that. Ray will have you want to run through a wall like you could play football.
Absolutely. I mean, when I got on here, I heard you getting hype, and I said, okay. Look, I had to check the clock. What time is it? Okay, we good.
It's what part of town, part of the country are you in right now?
Currently, I am in St. Louis, Missouri right now.
You up in St. Louis? My youngest son, who's like 6'8", could have played basketball, decided he was going to get into engineering. He lives in St. Louis. He works for KPMG, and he making all that money. He can't call me now. He making all that money. But before he was making that Skrilla, he was on that phone 24/7. Dad. How things up in St. Louis?
I mean, things are good. St. Louis is one of those cities where, you can have some really good days, or sometimes you can have some bad days. But at the end of the day, I try and make the most of everything,
I hear you. Got Rebecca Harris joining us. She is a pro basketball player. She has been a coach. She played at the University of Illinois, and she's also a phenomenal author. And we've got her here on the lunch break with us. And Rebecca, real quick, tell everybody where you're from originally.
That is always like the golden question, but I'm a military brat.
Okay.
So I have no home. I was born in California, and then within 2 months of being born, my family moved overseas. So I've been to, at this point, probably 15 different countries. We made sure to get stationed in the States right before I was entering high school. That way I could be on the path that I had, tried to set out for myself and mold. And yeah, here we are.
Okay, so I did a little research. I'm one of them little nosy kids, okay? And I did a little research, and there's this town called Mascoutah.
Mascoutah.
You got to
Mascoutah.
You got to tell me what I said, because I don't know.
So Mascoutah, Illinois is about 15 minutes from Scott Air Force Base, and that is what brought us out this way. So literally 25, 30 minutes from St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a smaller area when I first moved here. It's been growing, great community. Matter of fact, the community has so much love, and for me as well. Like, I'm representing a friend of mine that actually passed away last year. He was the boys basketball coach, and him and I had so many talks of what it would take to help mold and mentor young people, especially if they are going through the process as young athletes do, but just anybody. And so, he was a big part of me making sure that I finished my book, just thinking of conversations that we've had. So yeah.
I got you. I got you. Again, Rebecca Harris joining us here on Throwback Thursday. So moved around a lot as a result of the military. Again, is it your father that was in the military or your mom?
My father. My father was in the Air Force. He was a master sergeant. So yeah, we grew up traveling the world. I spent the first 14 years of my life on the other side of the world.
Wow. I mean, seriously, what was that like? You got a lot of people that are listening to you right now that have never left their block. You got a lot of folks that have never left their city, a lot of folks that have never left the state. You've lived in multiple states, multiple cities, and multiple countries.
Yeah. People always ask me, what was that like? And, my answer is, I didn't know anything different. I couldn't really compare it at that age. But as I got older, I realized that was probably the biggest blessing for me. I am just more well-rounded, and I adapt to so many different situations. And I realized that is due to how I grew up, living in different countries, being a young Black female, and, living in Germany, living in the Philippines, Japan, seeing the world differently, because I wasn't, closed up in a box. And I understood that, different cultures do things differently, different people do things differently, but you can, find gold and glory within the ways that other people operate.
Right. Excuse me. Again, Rebecca Harris joining us here on the lunch break, Throwback Thursday. I was not in the military, but I was in a corporate program with a little bitty long distance company called AT&T. And they used to move me around every 6 months to a year. I lived in 14 different cities. And my oldest son was with me the majority of that time. And he says the same thing. He said, Dad, I hated it when we were doing it. But now I'm so well-rounded. I have a chance to know that people do different things in different places. And he thanks me for that now. But at the time, he did not like it, because as soon as he made friends, we were about to move somewhere else.
Yeah. I can't say, like, I actually enjoyed it for the most part, but it was hard on a kid making friends. And, that was a big reason why I became so good at basketball. Honestly, that was part of my introduction to everywhere I went. I didn't have to speak. I didn't have to say, hey, my name is, it started off with, can I play, or I'll play, and then from there, things took off. But that was always my introduction to new groups of people.
Yeah. All right, I tell you what, we're going to have to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to come back and we're going to pick up right there when basketball kind of got to beating in the blood and the heart of Rebecca Harris. We'll do that next. If you want to get in, 281-453-1000. That's 281-453-1000. You can text me, 832-403-5005, and hit that email, aj@kylksports.com. That's aj@kylksports.com. It's the lunch break, Throwback Thursday on the legendary KYLK.
This is Gardner Jr., Vice President of Communication Workers of America, District 6. Trey and I are inviting you to listen in to our new political talk show, Power to the People Political Hour.
Hello, this is Trey Daniels from the Daniels Group. Yes, Claude, the show will be hard-hitting and informative, talking about national and local political issues of the day, weekend, month. Interviews will be with pastors, community leaders, elected officials, and political operatives. Claude, a part of our responsibility is informing the citizenry and give them power to the people.
That's right, Trey. We're asking that you listen in on 1140 AM, 92.3, or streaming on KYOKradio.org, Thursdays at 10 a.m. Give the people time. Give people what they want.
All right, y'all know what those horns You know what those horns are about. It is the day that we represent the HBCUs. And tonight it'll be Alcorn and Arkansas Pine Bluff. I'm on record of saying that I got Arkansas Pine Bluff, but I couldn't find my Arkansas Pine Bluff shirt. So, Rebecca, I did what you're not supposed to do. I went on the other side of the field. Rebecca, don't tell nobody now. Don't come on my show and start telling on me already now. I had to wear something, right?
Hey, if they're watching or you roll the tape back, they're going to see this.
I'm going to say it was Rebecca's fault. I'm going to say Rebecca had purple in her shirt, so I had to have a little something in mine.
Don't blame me.
Hey, look, welcome to the family. That's how I go. I'm big brother. It was always little sister's fault, all right? Rebecca, tell us when basketball kind of got in your heart. Better yet, when did you fall in love with basketball and decided that's what you wanted to do?
Man, I mean, it was early on, to be very honest, like very early on. I picked up a ball for the first time. I was about 3 years old. This is a story that my dad likes to tell. We were in the Philippines and we were at like a barbecue, a gathering, and there were some kids playing on, one of those little hoops, like an Oshkosh type of hoop. And I was just sitting back watching, and then they had ran off to do something else and left the ball behind. And I picked it up and I started shooting around with it. And the ball had gotten away from me and was rolling towards the street. A young man, a little boy, he might have been 7, and I was 3 at the time. And he goes to go get it, but I'm not sure what he's about to do. So I actually follow him, and next thing you know, I think I punched him in the eye because I was thinking he was taking the ball away from me. And my dad laughs about this all the time because that was when he noticed, oh, like she might really like this, or let's see how this goes. And from that point on, I really never put it down. I started, asking to play as often as possible. I wasn't of age to play team sports yet. I was only 3. I have an older brother who was 3 years older than me, and the age was 5 of when you can play. So I would go to his games. I'd be like begging, can I play? And they're just, wait your turn. But yet, if we go outside or a park, you can play with whoever, whenever. And so like I started out playing with actually grown men in my backyard. There was a park, and it would be grown Filipino construction workers on their lunch break, ironically, playing basketball. And I would go over there as if I was the same height, as if I was, capable of so many things. And they just allowed me to come in and dribble and shoot, granny style. And, that opened the door for plenty of things. I was not afraid of someone being bigger than me. I was not afraid to go up to people already playing and just, hey, can I play? And that set the tone. And from that point on, I tried to play at every point, every opportunity. And I think it was middle school when it was just like, yeah, I want to do this. And everything that I pretty much did in my life had to do with basketball, shaping me towards basketball. And, me being a female, I'd go to school and I am contemplating what I'm going to wear, because if people are playing, I want to play.
Right.
What does that look like? But, if people are playing, I want to play. And, and it was an interesting time growing up for sure. But yeah, everything I did kind of revolved around when was the next opportunity for me to get on the court. So,
we got Harris joining us here on the lunch break. She's a pro basketball player. She's coached. She played at the University of Illinois with a team called the St. Louis Surge, and just she's an author as well. We're going to talk about her book in just a little bit. But Rebecca, when did it kick in that you were pretty good? When did it kick in that you could probably play on the college and even a professional level?
I never had any doubt, to be honest.
I love that.
And that's, I find now, especially throughout the time that I've spent around kids and coaching, that everyone does not have that.
Right.
But yeah, I never had any doubt. It was always, yeah, I can play. I can play too. And what's the next level? And the age group, sure, bump me up. I hadn't run into a wall of like, they're too good for me, or I'm not ready for that just yet. And so that has been a blessing. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? And I didn't warn you, and I should have. So we're a Christian radio station, but it's not a Christian show. And a lot of times we would like to encourage our listeners and our viewers, like you just said, there are a lot of people that don't have that. They don't have what I call that championship mentality. And I'm not talking about winning championships. I'm talking about you are the champion. You are the champion. Every time you overcome something, you defeated something, that makes you a champion. Can you try and encourage someone? I'm sure you had doubting moments. I'm sure you had moments where you felt like, man, I ain't playing well, or I'm whatever. How does somebody with that mentality get over those things, and how would you encourage someone who doesn't have it?
You know, self-doubt is normal. That is a little piece of fear and a little piece of anxiety that everyone has. But, you know, when you really want something bad enough, you figure out ways to navigate around that, you know, and tell yourself, you know, I put in the work. I continue to put in the work. I am capable. And you just give yourself those affirmations, because do you want to hold yourself back with that self-doubt, or is your goal strong enough? Is your faith strong enough that it's going to push you to get to where you are trying to go?
Yeah.
And that's always been it.
Okay. All right. Now I like that. Now you start talking about faith. How did your practice, how did your playing up, how did your belief in yourself increase your faith, where you were just like, man, I know I can do this. I might have had a bad game, but I got another one coming. How did that increase your faith?
You know, I know I put the time in. So I might have one bad game here or there, but you know, I'm willing to reflect on that and then get back in the gym. I'm willing to look at my bigger picture and know that I'm not going to let that one bad game, that one bad practice stop me. You know, and that's really been my motto and my mantra of how I've gone about things. You know, one bad game has never defined me. You know, one bad anything has never defined anyone unless you let it, you know, and that's it. Like there's a tomorrow. You know, if you're waking up and you're breathing, tomorrow there's another opportunity. And what are you going to do with that opportunity? So that's always been it.
Yeah, that's what's up. Now I felt that. I appreciate it, y'all. Listen to what she's saying. This is somebody who's done it and is doing it on a high level. So I hope somebody heard that and it encouraged them. I hate to do it. We're commercial radio station. I got to take another commercial break. But when we come back, there's a question out there about the greatest of all time on the women's side. And I've had Cheryl Swoops on this show. I've had Cynthia Coop on this show. But Sue Bird has a different person in mind. We'll talk about that next with our special guest, Rebecca Harris, right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK.
Hi, I'm Larry Scott, host of the Not So Christian in Me
That
show.
was strong.
Join me Saturdays for great fun,
I like
interviews,
that.
music, and news surrounding our world today. We
better watch out. I'm going to have you come down here and talk to my church.
with real conversation.
Right, let me know.
So join me Saturdays from 1
Do you ever
to
come to
2 p.m.
Houston?
on the Not So Christian in Me.
I have. As a matter of fact, I was just in Houston.
11:40
a.m. February was the last time. I had to go over to Texas A&M. They had something going on. They were the 10 years since they had won the championship and had a ceremony. And I am quite close to some people on that team, so I went down there with them, and it was a good time.
That's what's up. Yeah. Well, listen, when you come down again, I need you in studio.
You're qualified to receive.
Okay, I'll have to stop by Turkey Hut again first, but okay.
Oh, man, listen. So I'm a pescatarian, and the Turkey Hut don't make pescatarian food.
No, I understand. I am usually a pescatarian most of the time. I will break some things for some turkey. So
yeah, that turkey leg hut is legit. That's all truth right there. No chaser.
It's serious.
800-958.
But what's crazy, now check this out. In the same parking lot as the turkey leg hut, they've got a food truck that is vegan soul food truck called the Houston Sauce Pit. And man, let me tell you something. I come out of there licking those fingers because it's that good. It's that
Check
good.
out Beach Tire Services and more. New and used tires.
You all right with me?
Brands you desire.
Okay, so I appreciate that.
Well, 559
Well,
North.
I appreciate you.
Give them a call at 832-767-3211. Top-notch service from beginning
Okay, we
to
got
end.
one more after
When
this
you're
and we're
done,
done.
get your car hand
No worries.
and out at OMG Tire Services and more. Located at 3126 Tidwell between 59 North and Jensen. Call 832-767-3211. That's 832-767-3211.
That sounds like Felicia Rashad.
I'm gonna tell her you said that.
Tune in.
That's one of my colleagues.
Boy,
She loves Felicia
every
Rashad too. It's funny you
Tuesday
said
from
that.
10 to 11 a.m. on the legendary KYOK 1140 a.m. and 92.3 FM. See you there.
Beautiful people, this is Major. This is why I love you on the lunch break.
Appreciate your nephew, Major, out there making good music, doing his thing. We doing our thing, HBCU style, in the studio. Again, it's Alcorn and Arkansas Pine Bluff tonight. I'll be at the Texans game. Texans, woo, boy, I sure hope they can play well against the #1 defense in the NFL. Anyway, that ain't what we're talking about, though. We're talking to our special guest, Rebecca Harris. She is a professional basketball player. She's been a coach. She is an author of a book. In fact, I was checking some things out. They said Rebecca averaged 10.1 points per game, shot 79% from the line, 37 from three. You know, down here in Houston, they love those threes now. They love those threes. And where did I read? Somewhere she had a career high 43 points in a game. Rebecca, how big did that rim look like when you busted them up for 43?
Okay, so you rolled off, and this is just a small correction. You rolled off what the stats from, I believe, my U of I days, and those days were beautiful, but those just set the tone. That was only the beginning.
Okay, tell me.
Yeah, and so like now, and not, tooting my own horn, but maybe a little bit.
Now come home.
As a professional, I average about 18 to 20 points per game. That is my usual. But yes, I did have a high scoring game of 43 points. I believe that was my 5th season playing professionally in Poland. And the rim was the ocean. I could not miss. It was a great game. It actually went into overtime as well. It was memorable, and yeah, that was good.
Yeah, I love that. That has never been me, so I got nothing but respect for it. In fact, you know what? Let me do this, and don't say a word. For all you brothers out there who played for your high school, who played in your little rec league, who played in your intramurals, who played in your dorm leagues, if you think one more time that you can beat these professional women just because you're a man and she needs to go to the kitchen and get you a set, I promise you, man, somebody's going to go ahead and pimp slap you. It's time out for that foolishness. Stop it. These ladies are legit. These ladies work hard, they practice hard, and they play hard, and they put up real legit numbers that you could never. So just stop with that nonsense. Rebecca, don't say nothing. Just let me get that one for you, okay? All right, so here's the deal. There's this talk going on about the greatest of all time on the women's side. Somewhere on the men's side, it's between Michael Jordan and LeBron James, and folks are trying to slide Kevin Durant in there too. I think Bill Russell is one of the greatest of all time. The dude's got all those rings, and we can't forget Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. But anyway, I digress. On the women's side, what do you think about the talk on who is the greatest of all time? And if you had a vote, who would you give it to?
So in my heart of hearts, this is a question that I probably cannot answer until I am retired fully. And that is simply because I compete against these women, right? And so like, if we name some players that I've played with, against, whatnot, Cheryl Swoops is in there, Swin Cash is in there, and Lindsay Whalen is in there. And like, kudos to them, right? Like, they continue to inspire me, my game, and the conversations that I have with young people. But I could not say, that like this person is the greatest of all time at the moment. Not only that, this is a great debate, but like, people are still going toe to toe, head to head. There's huge debate right now about the top 25 list that just came out for WNBA players.
Right.
And people are, keeling over just because they feel some type of way. However, number one on the list happens to be Diana Taurasi. Whether I agree or disagree, my thought is she's one of only a few on that list that is still playing. So she's not even done yet. So she's still building her legacy on the court while others have retired. So, so it's almost like, how can you debate that? Like, every day these stats are changing for her. She can surpass somebody on this list tonight, actually, because they have a playoff game.
Playoffs start tonight, right?
Right. Yeah. And I had just looked at some people's comments and some like media outlets and what they had to say. And I just thought it was interesting because it's always funny from a professional athlete standpoint. And when you're in the game versus the thought process of maybe a fan who, if you never touch the game and don't know the ins and outs of it, the work put in, the behind the scenes, the conversations between all the different players, the who has who as a mentor, and knowing who's really not competing with someone, else in that respect. So it's just interesting. And like, until we have a list of 25 top WNBA players that are done playing,
right,
and are legends in their own right from there, like, don't compare someone who has a game tonight versus someone who hasn't played in 10 years.
They're sitting on the sofa, right? I got you. And I like that answer. Okay, Rebecca. Now, when you first started, I was like, "Come on now, you ain't come on my show and hold up." But you definitely, that makes sense, because when you think about it, Michael is done, but LeBron is still putting up numbers. LeBron still has a chance to put up. Kareem is done. Wilt is done. Shaq is done. Those guys are done, and you can kind of place them where you want to place them. But LeBron's story is not yet written. Kevin Durant's story is not yet written. Steph Curry, they're not. Same thing on the women's side. Those stories are not yet written. I can respect that. That's a, and like you said, for somebody who's in the game, that's a whole different perspective than most of us who have never been in that game. Most of us would have. So I talked about Sue Bird. Sue Bird said that Diana was the best, and she said, no disrespect to any of the other great ladies who played this game. I can appreciate that too, because I'm not one of those guys who feel like I got to choose one and disrespect the other. I was glad to be able to see Patrick and Bird. I was glad to be able to see Dominique Wilkins and all the other great players that came up during my era. So do you feel like you can appreciate all the greatness and not have to make somebody feel like they were not one of them?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially just being on the side of the fence that I'm on. You mentioned how Sue said it was DT as the best ever. And I fully expect that. They are the best of friends, and have gone through the ringer on so many elite teams, from Olympic gold medalists, to UConn, to playing overseas and winning EuroLeague. Like, they are the best of the best together and separate. Of course, you're going to say your best friend, because they push each other in different ways as well. Right. And if she doesn't have that same type of interaction with someone else on this list, like, there's absolutely no reason for her to name anyone else. She's been in the trenches with Diana Taurasi and won medal after ring after, and so I fully understand that type of answer. Just like if people were to go down the list and tell me things or ask me certain questions about players on this list, my answers would be very different from anyone else's. Why? Because I've actually had maybe some interactions with people and played with people or played against people and had certain conversations. And it's so much more from the perspective of an athlete in it, because we're not just thinking about the stats that you see, right? Like, I'm like, how did this person inspire me as the next generation when we had that meeting and I had a bad game? Or I'm asking them about their work ethic and how they do. Like, and then not only that, we didn't even talk anything about the business side of the game, which is a complete different scenario that a lot of people can't relate to, because certain things we don't even talk about until you're fully retired. And that'll probably be in book number 2, to be honest.
I promise you, we'll get to the book in 1 second. Something just hit me as you were talking. When someone like yourself has been a coach, you see things differently. You see things from fundamentals, like, oh, I wish he hadn't done that. Or, man, if they had only done that, they'd be this. Are there any players that came along that didn't get the name recognition or get the break that you thought were just amazing players, and for whatever reason, they didn't get that break?
I mean, that list is way too long for the women's side and for the men's side, but certainly for the women's side. Yeah. Like, here's been the thought for so long, until the past, like, the recent 5 years. If you didn't play for UConn, Tennessee, or maybe 2 other big name college teams, Division I, that always made it to the big dance and were at least in the Final Four, you did not get seen. You did not get recognized. Whereas on the men's side, I mean, they were looking at LeBron in 8th grade. They were looking at players, as freshmen in high school. But for the women's side, it wasn't like that. Literally over the last 5 years, and especially over the last 2 years, things have gotten much better and have started to blow up. Players are getting more notice from being on social media. And like, there is a small group, but a list of journalists that have taken social media to new heights to help give women's sports altogether the recognition that they deserve. Yeah. And they've done a fantastic job, more so than ESPNW and just other bigger platforms that did not give the respect to women's sports as they should have. So, and the people that I'm talking about started off as just fans. Yep. Like, they might have had a favorite player, or they lived in New York City across the street and seeing the New York Liberty walk out and was like, hey, I want to follow you guys. What's going on? Tell me about your sport. And literally took their life and took time out of their life to write blogs every other day, to get to know players on an individual basis and then speak on them and to transform a community. Part of me and you getting to know each other was based off of social media. Correct. And being part of a community. And yeah, that's where a lot of things have started for women's sports.
Absolutely. In fact, as you were talking, there's a young lady by the name of Christina Williams from Girls Sports TV. She is one of the 30 under 30 for Forbes magazine. I met her through that, and literally her coverage of women's basketball just let me know I wasn't even scratching the surface. Right. And like you said, from following her, I found you, and from following you, I like the way you think. Just really talking about basketball. You'll post some stuff, I'll be like, dang, for real? I like that. I really like that. So you're right. There's a different platform now with social media that opens doors that some scouts and some agents and some coaches and people who, like you said, weren't at Tennessee and weren't at UConn and weren't at Stanford and Notre Dame, those doors are now open because of social media and folks like Christina Williams.
Yes, absolutely. I love people like Christina Williams for all that she does. There's some other people in the business as well who have just taken it upon themselves to make it be known, and you just can't thank them enough. Right. And then, as much as they do, in a lot of ways, they are only scratching the surface because there's so much work to be done. Yeah. They do a lot of work behind the scenes to try and help players that they know coming up, but also just really have ties to the WNBA. Now, if you know anything about the WNBA, it only has a certain amount of teams, not enough, and smaller rosters, not enough. There are thousands of hoopers who, like myself, have made long-lasting careers of only playing overseas. And they could have teammates who could be a WNBA player. I've had probably 3 or 4 throughout my career. who have come in, and they are the rookie to me when I'm overseas, because I've been in that game long enough, and it's different over there.
Yeah.
You know, and like, sure, you know, I'm an advocate for women's sports, obviously, but also helping people navigate the other spaces that involve professional women's sports and the overseas life, the difference between a player that comes out of college and goes straight overseas and never touches the WNBA, you know? So there's different avenues to it.
Yeah, yes. That being said, tell me about how bad do you want it? I mean, just that alone makes you sit up straight and check yourself. Tell me about that.
So yes, here's my book, How Bad Do You Want It? You can get it off my website, www.rebecca30harris.com, or you can also go to Amazon. There's an ebook version on there as well. And I mean, the title almost speaks for itself, but at the end of the day, it is, if you have a goal, it's not just towards athletes, but if you have a goal, you really have to ask yourself the question, how bad do you want it? Because if you are not doing things in your life that are geared towards being successful in the goals that you have set, then what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, not only that, like, people run into roadblocks and adversity all day, every day. And sure, it's easy to give an excuse. And then you got to ask yourself, well, is the excuse more important to you, or is making your goal a success more important to you? So, you know, when I speak to young people, and I've also coached, but, you know, a lot of people come up to me and say, like, hey, I could have made it. I could have done this. And I'm like, well, what happened? Well, my coach didn't send off my film. Why was it only up to your coach to send off your film? Like, wasn't this your goal, or was this your coach's goal? And then you just dig a little deeper, and there's an excuse after an excuse after an excuse. And then I just hit them with, well, it doesn't sound like you wanted it bad enough, because if you're saying that your coach didn't send off film, my next question is, well, when you realized that they weren't sending off film, what was your next move? What did you do? Did you even ask your coach to send off film? Hey, coach, can we get this film together? You know, or if that wasn't working, don't you have friends that come to your game, or your parents? Hey, mom, dad, can you film the game for me? Or my friends, can you film the game? Well, I didn't ask them. I mean, everyone uses their phones every day. You are taking pictures, videos, set it up. You can get your own little clips, use social media to your advantage. There are so many ways to make it happen from point A to point B, right? Like, there's so many different ways to go about it. You know, I make these TikTok videos, and I also, you know, speak to the youngsters for 60-second clips and just ask them questions. You know, if an opportunity hit you in your face, would you even know it? Because are you thinking about, I can only go Division I to be successful? I went junior college first before I ended up at the University of Illinois, to be perfectly honest, you know? And it's just that if you really want to make things happen, you can.
Yeah.
And there's more ways to get to your end goal. I knew that I wanted to play professionally at some point. So I was getting recruited out of high school, and I was getting recruited pretty heavily. I did have a goal and a place that I wanted to go, but I didn't end up there. So let me take a side step. Okay, junior college. All right, let's go there. Let's make sure my grades are on point. Let's just get in an area that can allow me to focus on what I need to do. And let's just go hard. And this is my game plan. This is my focus. And I opened up my recruitment back up. I'm getting schools to come look at me that weren't looking at me in the beginning.
Yeah.
And now I have more opportunities and doors. Now I'm picking and choosing. I don't want to go there. Let me go on a visit here. I'll decide to go there. And then I picked the school that I thought would give me the best opportunity to get even closer to my end goal. You know, and it's simple, but it takes your hard work and effort. So how bad do you want it?
That is profound. In fact, CJ Wright said, go deeper. You know, some people get comfortable on the surface. Some people get comfortable under their excuses, but you're asking them, like you said, question after question, digs down deeper to find out, how bad did you really want it? And that's sobering when you get to a place where you realize it wasn't my coach's fault. It wasn't this person's fault. I didn't push hard enough, or I didn't want it bad enough.
Right. Yeah,
Illinois, why, out of all those choices that you created for yourself after going to junior college, Why did you choose Illinois?
So at the time that I chose Illinois, one, they had a Hall of Fame coach. And on the men's side, they were getting so much traction. I chose to go there the summer after the men had actually come to St. Louis and played in the NCAA championship game against North Carolina, which was actually my dream school. But Illinois is now bigger than life and on the map. And they're knocking at my door to be in there.
Yeah.
You know, and like I went on a visit. I actually had my whole family come on a visit as well. And, you know, that was helping and being a deciding factor. It's about 2.5 hours away from my home. So I was far enough away to feel like, oh, I'm on my own, I'm doing some things, but also close enough to where, you know, my family is close enough to just come to games whenever, to come through if I need something or they miss me or I miss them. So those were deciding factors. And then, you know, I also had a mentor in D. Brown of when he was the point guard, because they were larger than life. I came on a visit. Hey, nice to meet you. I'm thinking about coming here as a point guard. Let's exchange information. And we would text and talk a little bit, you know, and yeah, it was a great environment. So I felt like out of every place that was coming at me, in order to get to my next goal, this might be pretty good. You know, this might be it, you know, to continue to have eyes on me and see what we can make happen. So, yeah.
That is phenomenal. We got Rebecca Harris joining us on the show. She's a pro basketball player. She's been a coach, and she is the author of a phenomenal book entitled How Bad Do You Want It? And you can get it on Amazon. You can also go to her website, which we got scrolling over the bottom if you're listening on the legendary KYOK AM 1140, 92.3, or streaming live on KYOKradio.org. That website is Rebecca30harris.com. That's Rebecca30harris.com. And hey, listen, y'all know how we do here on the lunch break. Support this young lady. Buy that book. In fact, go to the website, because I know if you go to the website and buy it from there, she'll get the blessing right away. So, you know, y'all go ahead and do that. Make sure we support her and love her. I'm going to order as soon as I get done with the show today. Rebecca, I got a question, something I've always wanted to ask. I've had some folks on the show that have gone overseas. After you finish college, how does the overseas part happen? How does a team from Italy find Rebecca Harris in Illinois?
You know, networking is a great thing. So, this is some of my thinking and my thought process as well, because it is all about who you know. Even though I didn't have all the answers, it is about who you know. So, you know, coming to a school that had a Hall of Fame coach, and then I know people know some other people. So once my senior season was over, and we did end up having a new coach then, you know, I had put a bug in everyone in my coaching staff's ear, even before the season had just ended, and let them know, like, hey, I want to continue playing. And they're like, okay, bet, I can see that. Like, you go hard for us, and I know that you want it. Okay, I can see that. And then they start, you know, contacting the people that they know, old players that they know. Hey, who's your agent? Let me hit up this person. And yeah, from there, it was just working out all summer, staying in shape, staying ready. And the first one to come through with a pretty good deal, you know, I signed with them, and I was off to the races. And my first stint was in Prague, Czech Republic.
Wow.
So yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what? Again, I just think that's absolutely phenomenal. One last question for you before we go. A lot is changing on the college landscape. However, there's still some disparity between the men and the women. And I just, you know, you ain't got to say nothing again. Mark Emmert and me, if I see him in the airport, they're just going to have to put some money on my books, because it's an unforced error for him not to have the women's facility as nice as the men's facility. I'm talking about weight room, hotels, meals, and stuff. What is that like? 2021, we still dealing with issues like that?
It's the usual. It's getting better, but it was the usual. You know, for them to say like it was an accident or something like that, no one on the women's side was surprised whatsoever. It was just social media is a hell of a drug and it's big.
Yeah.
And to put it out there, that's what, needed to be done. And so kudos to the players that documented it. One person in particular was big on it, Sedona Prince, who has actually turned herself into a major brand at this point because of her activism for women and women's sports. And she plays for the University of Oregon. And this also goes back to the big time players on social media that push women's sports like Christina Williams, because they was like, oh no, you're not going to do our girls like this. And then
China,
it became, and then it just took fire. But this was the usual. This is something that we are not, we're used to. And I hate it. I hate to say it, hate to see it, but we are looked upon as less than always when it comes to sports, and when it comes to facilities, accommodations, all of these things. I mean, WNBA players are still fighting right now to have proper accommodations to get back and forth to games. They've got them flying commercial. Now, granted, over the last year and a half, 2 years, there have been some major changes with how much they're getting paid now, even though that can still be up, and that will be a continued fight. To have the accommodation for mothers, to have daycare and things provided for their children, why are we even having to ask that?
Right.
Especially because we look at the men's, they've got full coverage healthcare once they're playing. They've got many accommodations for their families. Oh, I just had a baby. Don't worry. We're going to roll out the red carpet and make sure your wife, your girlfriend's okay, your kids, all of that. And that's not just, here. That happens overseas as well. That is part of, a lot of men's contracts of hey, yes, I have a family. Make sure that they can come over, have me a big enough apartment, all of these things. So it is a forever fight, it seems. And is it exhausting? Absolutely. And you got to think about all the things that we were fighting during the pandemic. Just being a woman, the pandemic, racism, prejudice, all of it. It is exhausting.
Yeah. I'm going to say this, and then we got to get ready to wrap it up, man. If it were not for you and the rest of the women out there on that side of it, a lot of our men, and I'm talking about a lot of them because there were some that were at the forefront, a lot of our men never would have came. Mm-hmm. But because the women stepped out there first with Breonna Taylor, because they stepped out there with George Floyd, look at what the women of the Atlanta team did in getting Kelly Loeffler out of there. I mean, if it were not for y'all, I can't even imagine the trouble that we would still be in.
I certainly agree. But I also know that the women's league, the powers that be, allow them to have a platform and speak up differently, right? The men are still trying to figure that out and do things, and, they think about, and this goes into the football, NFL as well, big time over there, but I don't want to speak because I don't want them to dock my pay. I don't want to be blackballed and things of that nature where, us women, we fight so hard for the little bit that we've got. And as we're coming up, it's like, this check don't mean enough for me to think twice about it in a lot of different ways. But at the same time, my dignity, everything else is on the line. We're fighting every day for, serious causes, and we need people to know, it's more than a game. It always has been.
Yeah.
And, it's okay to put it out there. It is tough to play when you've got so much heavy stuff on your heart and on your mind.
Right. I got to applaud y'all. And let me just be a real brother. We haven't protected y'all like we should. We haven't been beside y'all like we should. We certainly haven't been in front of y'all like we should. And my heart is full, man. When I think about all the change that came about because of the women, man, I do. If I had a hat, I'd take it off. And I thank God for y'all. I say that sincerely. We're at the end of the segment. I do birthdays at the end of my hours. Is your birthday coming up, or have you just recently had a birthday?
My birthday's in April, so we can save it for a little bit.
Are you gonna come back then? So will you come back? My oldest daughter's birthday is April 5th. Are you around her? Are you near her? When's yours?
April 15th.
Okay. I knew there was a bond and connection. So do me a favor, Rebecca, tell everybody where they can find you, where they can follow you, and where they can get the book.
All right. So thank you everyone for listening. You guys can grab my book, go to my website, www.rebecca30harris.com. You can also follow me on Twitter at BeckBeck8630. Our guy here, AJ Jones, he actually retweets a lot of my stuff and comments a lot of my stuff. So if you follow him, I'm sure you'll see my name pop up a time or two. You can also follow me on Instagram at RebeccaH30. I'm getting bigger and bigger on TikTok. So if the younger generation, I know you guys should be at school right now, but your parents, young coaches of high school AAU, follow me on TikTok at BeckHarris30. I'm usually dropping some dimes, some gems, some insight, and we talk life and sports into these young people. So there you go.
I absolutely love it, and I mean it when I say you got to come back if ever you're doing something that you want to let the world know. KYOK radio station has been around since the 60s. We got followers all around the world, and again, we'd like to be able to make sure we get the word out about our new sister, and that's Rebecca Harris. Thank you for making the time, and please, please, please come back soon, okay?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. You were great. This was a blessing. I love it. I will be back.
All right, my friend. I appreciate it. I'm going to hold you to that now. And look, I'll let you do the graphics.
Okay. That's better.
All right, Rebecca. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right. Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, y'all. Y'all give it up for Rebecca Harris. Thank you again for getting her, having her on the show. I want to thank my producer, Kev, the producer. He was working behind the scenes to make this happen. We got to get ready to hit the top of the hour. So what I'll do is I'll hold the birthdays and Sybil Wilkes until the top of the hour. So y'all stay right there. Again, y'all follow her on Twitter, on Instagram, on TikTok, and her website is www.rebecca30, the number 30, harris.com. That's Rebecca30harris.com. Telling you, you're going to love that book. How bad do you want it? That's a good one right here. All right, let's go ahead and hit the top of the hour. We'll be right back after this on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. It is Throwback Thursday.
The legendary 1140 AM KYOK Conroe and 92.3 FM K222CX Houston.
Oh, yeah, I'll do some
The views and opinions expressed on all radio shows broadcast on KYOK are entirely those of the host, guests, and callers who are entirely responsible for all show content and do not in any way reflect the opinions of KYOK Radio, its sponsors, staff, or management.
Oh, sausage. Okay, let's do this.
But every little, you take it out.
Okay, let's do this.
Take the pump.
Okay.
That's all.
You walk out on that field. Ask yourself this question.
What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Let's go! We made it! We made it! We made it! We made it! I'm going to the house! I'm going to the house!
When I step on the field, I send one message. This is what it feels like. This is what it feels like. Football is getting hit. That's it.
It's gonna be football now! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Game time! What time is it? Let's hunt now! Let's hunt now! Let's go! Let's hunt! We made it! I'm going to the house! I'm going to the house!
We're talking about the Jets like we're talking about the Saints. You know, all this, how we the Miami Heat of football. Yeah. The bottom line is you got to buckle up the chin straps. It's embarrassing. Yeah. Don't disrespect the game like that. There's too much crying from him. He's a man. They can be a hit just like us. He's a man. You already make the big money. He's a man. I'm proud when you step on the field, man. That's what I did. When I step on the field, I I send one message. And this is what it feels like. Oh, my bad. Your bad don't work in my world.
What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Game time. What time is it? Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. We ready. Let's go to the house. Let's go to the house. It's a wrap. Game over.
All right, y'all. This game is really just getting going. That was the first hour on the books, second hour underway here on the legendary KYOK. And man, I got to tell you, Rebecca Harris just set me on fire. She said a number of things that just really blessed me. So I tell you what, let me go ahead and get Sybil Wilkes on real quick, and then we'll do the birthdays, and we'll get into the second hour. Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review, going to join us in this second hour. But here's what you need to know from Sybil Wilkes.
It's Sybil Wilkes with what you need to know. Today is Thursday, September 23rd, 2021. Number one, members of the Congressional Black Caucus met with White House officials Wednesday to discuss the treatment of Haitian immigrants at the U.S.-Mexico border. CBC members called for the suspension of the Border Patrol agents photographed on horses rounding up Haitians at the border. Following the meeting with senior White House officials Cedric Richmond and Dr. Susan Rice, Caucus Chair Representative Joyce Beatty said the focus was not only on the consequences of the border agents' behavior, but on the conditions at the border as well. Number two, after months of talks, negotiations have collapsed in bringing the George Floyd Policing Act to the Senate for passage. Senator Cory Booker announced Wednesday that talks regarding police reform fell apart. The New Jersey Democrat said lawmakers could not strike a bipartisan deal despite the promise by President Biden that the law would be passed by 1 year after the murder of Floyd by Minneapolis police. In a separate statement, negotiator Congresswoman Karen Bass called upon the Biden administration to use the constitutionally mandated power to bring about meaningful police reform. Number three, this week, several progressive lawmakers introduced a bill that would reinstate a nationwide eviction moratorium just as deaths from COVID-19 are at their highest levels since early March. Lawmakers say the bill would direct the Secretary of Health and Human Services to implement a ban on evictions and grant permanent authority to the department to implement an eviction moratorium. The Supreme Court's conservative majority at the end of August allowed evictions to resume across the United States, blocking a temporary ban that was put in place because of the coronavirus pandemic. Number four, hip-hop star Gunna, born Sergio Giovanni Kitchens, recently celebrated the opening of Gunna's Drip Closet and Grocery Store. It's a small market built in McNair Middle School that now provides an accessible place where students and families can get free food, school uniforms, sneakers, and personal care items. The store, which is now open to the school's 900 students and their families, even provides groceries for those who may be vegetarian or vegan. Number five, members of the Congressional Black Caucus, religious leaders, and others are working to help bring our Haitian brothers and sisters into the United States, as this country has done for countless other migrants from countries like Afghanistan. As we hold the government accountable, there are organizations on the ground helping to keep Haitians going as they continue to seek entry into the U.S. Check out What You Need to Know newsletter about what you can do to help via organizations like the San Antonio-based Black Freedom Factory. Here's your daily inspiration from Yogi's Jewels. Remember that you are worth all the good that the universe has to offer. Receive it. I do. Join me today live on YouTube and Facebook at 7 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Central with the one and only George Wallace and friends as we discuss today's top headlines and more. Check out the newest album of our very own social activist, Quinn Townsend Riley, And She Worthy, available on all streaming platforms now. Thank you to our What You Need to Know partner, Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. And to subscribe to my free daily newsletter, please visit SybilWilkes.com. Be informed, be empowered.
All right. Thank you very much there, Sybil Wilkes, and we appreciate that. Back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. I need to get him on here because instead of having Usher sing, I need to go ahead and let this dude sing right here. Hold on. Before you say anything, let me get the ticker right. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? I try to keep you on, but where you at? Kris Gardner. There you are. Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review. Kris, you gonna sing for us today for these birthdays?
What am I singing?
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
No, I ain't ready yet. Hold on. Kris, hold on. Kris, wait, here we go. Birthdays today. Sharonda Harrell, my good friend, she worked at KYOK back in the day. Let's see. Felicia Crosby, Tisha Bowers, Terry Price, Terry Pierce, Demetria Pitts, Tiffany Grammer, Christina Fioroni, Lakeisha Barnett, Sonia Marcia Freeman, and her twin sister, Tanya. I knew them back when I was working at WYLD in New Orleans. And guess who my trainer was, the person who taught me how to do radio? Wendell Pierce.
Really?
Wendell Pierce taught me how to do radio. Yeah, he would sit in with me overnight. So I have to shout out to who I call my twins, Sonia and Tanya Freeman. All right, so you going to sing happy birthday, or do I need to get Usher? What you want me to do?
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Let's do it, brother. Let's do this.
Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review. Look, local name, global perspective, and multi-talented. I love it, man. I love it. Brother, hold on, man. Before we even get started, I had a young lady on, Rebecca Harris. Played at University of Illinois, played overseas. She's balling right now. Man, she just set us on fire, did a great interview. And she's got a book out called How Bad Do You Want It? And man, she said something real strong when people are like, oh, well, I didn't get to the next level because my coach wouldn't send my game film out. Well, was it your coach's dream or was it your dream? Or this didn't happen because other people didn't do this for me. Was it their dream or was it your? How bad do you want it? And I'm thinking about, guys like Ben Simmons. I'm thinking about guys like John Wall. I appreciate that clip you sent me. How bad does Rafael Stone want to move John Wall? And if so, what is he willing to do?
Wow.
Because from that clip, it doesn't sound like there's a whole lot he can do.
Exactly. I don't.
This year, anyway.
Yeah, this year. And that's the key. Because John Wall has one more year left on this deal. I mean, it's a player option. And like I've said, like everybody knows, as a player option, there's no way on this earth John Wall is going to turn down $47.4 million next season. There's no way.
And folks that compare that to the Chris Paul deal, it was different for Kris. Kris played on a NBA Finals contender. John is not going to opt out and try and sign a lesser, more long-term deal because he really don't have that option.
Right. Yeah, that money's gone. That $47 million is gone. He's got to opt into it to get it on the books for him to start getting those checks. So because of that, because it's not a team option, John holds a lot of leverage here. He still wants to play. He had a decent season last year, especially coming off the injuries, and he missed, 2 seasons. I think he was okay. He didn't shoot the ball at a high percentage. He wasn't very efficient. And he's not worth, because of that efficiency or lack of efficiency, he's not worth the money.
Right.
In that sense. But he was healthy in all NBA when he signed that contract that he's still getting paid on. So
yeah, that
money's not going to change. And I do the same thing. Yes, I want to play on a championship caliber team, a team, more veteran team, a team that is not rebuilding like the Rockets are doing now. But I also want to get my money. That's what I signed to. I signed to get my money.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the Rockets and him, his side have agreed that he not play this season in a Rocket uniform. So what motivation is it for the other teams to give the Rockets something decent in return?
Yeah, we talked about that last week. No team is obligated to help the Rockets move John Wall. And if they wait long enough, they might get him on a bought-out contract or, when the Rockets are more desperate than right now.
Yeah, next summer, after his contract for the last season on the deal kicks in, then teams will be more agreeable because that money will come off their books.
Right.
That's $47 million coming off their books.
Right.
In the summer of 2023.
Real quick, that's why expiring contracts are valuable, because it pulls money off of the other team's books that takes that player. And that's why a lot of times they'll take a player that they have no intentions of ever playing just for that expiring contract that will help them out in the long run.
Correct. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So I know Media Day is going to be Monday for the Houston Rockets. What are you expecting to hear at Media Day?
And I put in my request to be there for that because I won't be in Galveston the rest of the week for practicing and training camp.
That's right. They're going to be practicing in training camp down in Galveston, which is something a little different, right?
It's a little different. I think, pre-COVID, they did have training camps at, other cities. I think they've been in Galveston maybe once or twice recently.
Mm-hmm.
But for the 28th through October 2nd, they will be in Galveston, getaway, bonding, things like that. But it's on the media if they want to attend,
Mm-hmm.
have availability there in Galveston, but there won't be any Zoom calls
for
us, which kind of surprised me because I think that limits your media coverage for people who are out of the country, overseas, generate interest that way for you. But that's their choice, and probably not the only team that'll do that. But I won't be there. I mean, because college basketball practice starts next week for some people, so I'll be doing that.
I got you.
But media days is fluff. We're looking forward to the season. We're young. Coach Silas said how things have gone. Some of the players who may talk, probably folks like Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr., the stars of the team, the face of the franchises now going forward. A lot of fluff. What you work on this summer? I did this, I did that. What the goals of the season? Well, my goal is to be this. It's not a lot of in-depth stuff, but it indicates the season is right around the corner. And that's what I like about it.
I got you. Hey, we got to take a break. When we come back, we're going to not say the name that apparently if you say it nowadays, it can cost you some money. So we'll do that when we come back. Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review, Throwback Thursday, right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK. Where is my button? There it is right there.
With Erica Campbell. More prizes and more winners. You are a winner. Yay!
Let's get up mornings. Hello, who is this?
This is Leanna.
Hi, Leanna. Where you calling from?
Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas. Leanna, what is the word of the day?
Party. Join the party, y'all.
Hey! Congratulations. You win $100 in Erica Campbell cash and a chance for a trip for two to fly away to Atlanta. Airfare, hotel, ground transportation, and a chance to meet and greet some of your favorite gospel artists. How you feeling?
I'm claiming that too.
Come on.
No, that's right.
Now tell us, what show just made you a winner?
Get up mornings with Erica Campbell.
Show did. Congratulations.
Shiloh Radio. Hello, this is Claude Cummings Jr., Vice President of the Communication Workers of America District 6. Trey and I are inviting you to listen in to our new political talk show, Power to the People Political Hour.
Hello, this is Trey Daniels from the Daniels Group. Yes, Claude, the show will be hard-hitting and informative, talking about national and local political issues of the day, week, and month. Interviews will be with pastors, community leaders, elected officials, and political operatives. Claude, a part of our responsibility is informing the citizenry and give them power to the people.
That's right, Trey. We're asking that you listen in on 1140 a.m., 92.3, or streaming on KYOKradio.org, Thursdays at 10 a.m.
Give the people what they want.
All right, y'all. We're back on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. This is the day we rep our HBCUs. Tonight, it's Alcorn and Arkansas Pine Bluff on the football side. And, Kris, we got to talk about what you sent me last night. Had me all forehead sweating and nervous and trying to figure out what's going on. But why, when you are an executive, owner, GM, person of stature in the NBA, if you say the name of the person with the initials BS, you're getting fined $50,000. All the man said was, we don't want to trade for BS. And the man got fined $50,000.
Because BS is under contract of another team. He's a player. Players can talk about other players. Ownership, management can't do that. That's what it comes out. Management cannot do that. Management cannot mention.
I can't say I don't want BS on my team or I just got to hit the money. Here go my 50,000. I don't want BS on my team. Here go 50,000 more. I ain't gonna trade for him. Here go 50,000 more. Is it like that?
Yes, like that. Yep, sure is.
And folks got all mad at Magic Johnson when he did it, but I bet you they not gonna get that mad at the Golden State Warriors dude.
Some folks might. A lot of people think this is just trifling, but goes to charity, so that's okay.
Yeah. I'd rather you just say, "Hey, loan me $50,000 so I can give it to charity." Here you go. You ain't got to pay that back. You're trying to fine me for stuff like that.
I mean, he can afford it, so
I know.
I know.
Listen, if I had it, I'd be one of those cheap billionaires. I'd be like, "Nah, man, I need my 50 GER back." So, all right. So Doc Rivers says that he wants to keep BS.
Good.
That speak or is that for real?
After he threw him under the bus after the in the playoffs. So yeah, okay, Doc. Folks haven't forgot what you said. No, he can. Okay, sure, he wants to keep him because he's talented.
Yeah,
he's 25 years old.
Yeah,
he's just beginning a 4-year extension. So yeah, he's locked into a good contract. Sure, he wants to keep him.
Mm-hmm.
Too late now, apparently. They say I ain't coming. I'm not coming to Philly anymore unless I'm visiting. I'm not playing for y'all.
All right, so we know there's not much Rafael Stone can do with John Wall. What can Daryl Morey do with Ben Simmons?
Swallow some pride and take the best offer that's out there that's available. That's what he's gonna have to do, because if Ben is serious and does not show up Monday media day, league-wide media day, and then continues that through training camp, preseason games, Sixers are stuck and Ben is a Rich Paul client, correct, sir?
Yeah, he is.
But kudos to Rich Paul, because in Ben's contract, Ben received 25% of his paycheck August 1st. Ben will receive 25% more of his paycheck October 1st. That's half his pay right there before the preseason games start. So Philly fine him or whatever for whatever you want to call it. They can begin fines really officially until the games count. That's regular season. Ben got half his money. So, okay, what's out? Well, whatever. I'll check my direct deposit. Good. Yeah. I'm good. Okay, what y'all gonna do now?
Yeah.
So
Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review, joining us on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM. It's our Throwback Thursday. Of course, they put out the expected win totals for NBA teams. The Rockets are somewhere around 25 wins. Do they jump up that high this year? That's almost double what they did last year.
I predicted 21. 25, that's doable. As long as they don't get too much higher and start messing around with high lottery pick placement, I'm okay with that. As soon as they do something with Eric Gordon, who similar to John Wall, that's just less pay, because Eric Gordon can help the Rockets win too many games. Mm-hmm. And by that I mean lower their lottery pick status. This team is not a championship caliber team.
Yeah.
Why pretend?
So they don't want to be in that 30 to 40 win range. That does nothing for them.
Oh, they probably do. I don't want them to do that.
Okay. All right.
If they do that, they believe that, see, our young guys, the future of our young guys, we've jumped the process a year. We've exceeded expectations by winning a lot this year. So our foundation is really set, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That ain't me.
Yeah. If I'm the Milwaukee Bucks, I'm mad. They had the Brooklyn Nets winning more games than anyone in the NBA. Right behind them, the Lakers, and then Milwaukee.
Yeah, that's fine. And I'm sure Giannis and the folks, Bobby Portis and Coach Bud, okay, see, nobody outside of our locker room thinks we can do it again. Get that chip. Okay, we're going to prove it to you. That's fine. It happens a year. It's happened before. Only team that it really doesn't happen was Michael's teams. Because it was Mike. People are all swooning all over Mike. But other championship caliber teams, it's hard to repeat. How many Spurs teams? Pop won 5 rings, didn't repeat one time.
Yeah, I got you. In fact, it was interesting that they only have the Spurs in the 30 to 35 range as well.
That's about right. Because they're not they're not gonna be great for a while. Young talent is there, but they need a lot more pieces to get that done, turn around again.
What's interesting, Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review, joining us here on the lunch break. 2 years ago, when they slid into the play-in round of the playoffs, I was like, that's the year that they needed to go ahead and get out of that top 8, top 10 ultimately, and try and get into the lottery so that they could start the rebuild. Then they didn't. They fell out of that. It's like, why? Why? So you could be number 8? Like, why? Why? What was the point? I know there's history there. I know there's pride there and whatever, but you don't have Tim Duncan anymore. You don't have Tony Parker anymore. You don't have Manu Ginobili. You definitely don't have Kawhi Leonard. And I'm wondering now how much of LaMarcus Aldridge's up and down and all that was just early signs of his health condition.
Could be. The Spurs are a proud franchise, but they needed to stink. They needed to get a high lottery pick because now they're going to be mediocre.
Yeah.
Now you're in that limbo of you're not good enough to compete for championships, but it's not bad enough to win a top 3 pick in the draft. Okay, you just going to be average and stink to average, and that's not where you want to be.
Right.
I think.
Right. Yeah, no, I agree with that. Kris, stay right there. I got to take a quick break. We'll be right back. We'll talk a little bit more about some of the teams. The second best team in the West, according to this particular writer, is, I'll tell you when we come back right here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK.
The legendary KYOK 1140 AM. The legendary KYOK 92.3 FM. Radio stations in one.
Tune in to Table Talk with your boy, TD Blackshear, every Tuesday from 10 to 11 a.m. on the legendary KYOK 1140 AM and 92.3 FM. See you there.
In need of tires? Check out OMG Tire Services and more. New and used tires, all the name brands you desire. Located at 3126 Tidwell, between 59 North and Jensen. Give them a call at 832-767-3211. Top-notch service from beginning to end. When you're done, get your car hand-washed. Inside and out at OMG Tire Services and more. Located at 3126 Tidwell, between 59 North and Jensen. Call 832-767-3211. That's 832-767-3211. Conveniently located on the north side.
Hi, I'm Larry Scott, host of the Not So Christian and Me Show. Join me Saturdays for great fun, interviews, music, and the latest news surrounding our world today. We are the show that cares to hear your voice and opinion with real conversation in a no judgment zone. So join me Saturdays from 1 to 2 p.m. on the Not So Christian and Me Show, right here on the legendary KYOK Radio, 1140 AM, and the all-new 92.3 FM and KYOKradio.org.
Hey, what's up? This your boy James Fortune, and you are listening to The Lunch Break. Keep it locked.
All right, y'all. We're back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM, streaming live, KYOKradio.org. Yeah, I got to throw in some HBCU music. You know the deal. So watch this, man. I was at the U of H Grambling game, and U of H was thumping them. And then came halftime, and they let Grambling go first with the band. Mistake. Big mistake.
Not really.
all that thumping that they were doing on the football field stopped when the world famed marching band from Grambling got out there and did their thing. And then, they went off to one of them shakers and then out-marched in military style U of H. And, man, I got real sleepy, bro. I got real sleepy. I got real tired. Like, I went and got hot dogs, and, in the press box, they feed us. Like, I went and found some hot dogs somewhere on the other side of the building.
They didn't do a collab because a previous time when Grambling football was here to get beat down, the bands did a routine together.
Yeah, and they might have thought about doing that, but the Grambling band probably said, "Nah, we good. Look, we good. Thank you, though."
But the band is the reason why they were there.
What's even funnier was after they did the halftime thing. So U of H's band was on one end, Grambling's band was on the other end. And I've been at HBCU games where the bands will go back and forth from the stands in a little battle. The U of H tried to start a battle. Grambling literally put their instruments down, threw up the hand and turned their backs to U of H. And I'm like, man, that's ugly. That was just rude.
but I mean, honestly, bro, the Grambling's band was a highlight for Grambling.
Absolutely.
Because their football program is.
Yeah, I got Prairie View beating them this weekend.
You still a lot of folks beat them this year.
Yeah,
their offense quarterback is a struggle.
Yeah, I got a chance to interview Coach Fobb after that game, and he said the right things, but I know some of those Grambling alum, and they're gonna be making some noise here in a minute if he don't turn that all around. So the NBA writers have the second best team in the West as who do you think, Kris Gardner? Who would you say?
Who would I say? Okay, the Lakers are first.
Right.
Well, last week we discussed is it Utah again?
It is Utah again. Like in Utah, they trust.
Well, that's good. My colleagues and I disagreed before. We disagree right now. I'm not going to pick Utah.
Number 2?
Phoenix?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, did anybody quit? Did somebody just say they don't want to play no more for Phoenix? Named Devin Booker or Andre Ayton or...
But, I will say it, and I don't have a problem saying it, I am biased a little bit. Until Utah gets it done in the playoffs, conference finals, I don't care what y'all do in the regular season. I don't care if they go 60-22. So, it make no difference to me. I don't care if they number 1 in the West. They don't beat the Lakers in the playoffs. Don't care. I'll pick the Lakers all day long. If it's in Utah, nope. I'm not picking Utah. Don't care.
Is Utah one of those towns where that becomes a problem for the head coach? Quinn Snyder's obviously a solid head coach, but does it begin to become of a problem for them because they don't get over that hump?
It should. Yes, it should be a problem for Donovan Mitchell. He's the star face of the franchise, not Rudy Gobert. Donovan needs help on the perimeter. Y'all got to keep guys out the paint. Y'all can't make Rudy guard everybody.
Can't guard everybody.
Okay, so they need to fix that.
Yeah.
So when they do, okay, then I'll pick them. Until then, see y'all in the playoffs.
I'm going to make a statement. You tell me if I've lost my mind. The East is tougher and harder to win than the West.
It is finally. Now, yes.
Okay.
It only took 40 years, 35, 40 years. But yeah, finally.
Yeah. Yeah. 1-8 in the East is tougher than 1-8 in the West.
Yeah. Go back to it. I'm serious. Back when I was a teenager, that's 30 plus years ago. The West was the Lakers. Pretty much. You had the Rockets sometimes, Portland sometimes.
Right.
But in the East, Boston, Milwaukee, Detroit, the Hawks, Philly, Chicago, then Indiana, on and on.
Yeah.
It was a question of who's going to come out the East. Well, it was either Boston or Detroit or Philly, but everybody else, it was a battle 1-8.
Yeah, you run through Atlanta and Dominique get to messing with you. And then they had Free Rollins and they had some other cats that could play. So you're right. You're right.
Antoine Carr, Cliff Levingston. East was competitive from 1-8, 1-10 probably.
Yeah,
but then the 90s hit, flip-flop. It took 30 years for the flip-flop back to the East being the better conference, the deeper conference.
Mm-hmm. I got you. Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review on the lunch break. So you sent me something that just messed up my whole evening.
And your response, I wasn't even going there with the reason why I sent it. Because
okay. Because brother, I thought it was doomsday. I was like, what? These schools that lost basketball programs? What happened, man? What was the deal?
Because you asked me last week to put together my predictions.
Yeah.
For SWAC basketball, and I was, prepping for that. And 6 teams, and I really can't do a thorough job. So my predictions: Prairie View number 1, TSU number 2, Jackson State 3, Grambling State 4, Southern 5, FAMU 6, and then 7 through 12. I don't have rosters on the website, so I got Alcorn State, Alabama A&M, Alabama State, Pine Bluff, Valley, and Bethune-Cookman. I don't have rosters listed for those teams on their school websites. as of yesterday, and hopefully they
You
did it
know
today.
what?
But so I was like, what can I do? How can I be really thorough about all this when I don't have info to go on?
You sent me that, and I thought you were telling me those schools were not going to fill basketball programs. I was panicked, bro. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah,
I mean,
I was like, no, man, no. It's like, no, bro. The schedules are posted for them, and of course, being an HBCU, nearly everybody's playing check games, non-conference.
Yeah.
But the rosters for the 21-22 season are not listed on the websites yet.
I got you. I look, been going through some things, man. Don't judge me.
and I'll say this: I sent it to a colleague, the same thing I sent you. And what first was 6 teams rosters are not posted for 6 schools. Then I sent him who the 6 schools were. He said, "Well, that's the bottom feeders. That's the schools with funding problems, money problems." So not surprising. And that's a concern. Okay. Staffing is limited, funding is limited. So they don't have the resources. So that is a concern that you can't update your website, your school website for the rosters for your basketball program. That's a concern. This is September 22nd, yesterday. Practice starts for everybody pretty much next week.
Yeah.
And you still don't have the rosters for your team?
Wow.
So that's a concern, that's why we're taking it really.
That's interesting because, all the talk is about the Deion effect in football. And, of course, now Eddie George is there. And you got a lot of other coaches that have been there doing a great job. I mean, maybe they didn't have the name power of Deion Sanders. Some probably didn't have the money power of Deion Sanders. But it just goes to show that basketball is just a whole different animal. It's just a whole different animal.
It is. And, for me, basketball is my thing.
Yeah.
It ain't football. Mm-hmm. So when I see the basketball suffering, the product suffering, that hurts me more. Football is the king. I know football makes the world go round. I know that. In college sports, heck, pro sports, I know that. But the basketball issue, don't forget about hoops. If the hoops are a problem for the schools, just think about the Olympic sports.
Yeah.
Every sport that's not track. Think about that.
Right.
And this is the men's basketball.
Right.
It's got to be worse for the women's basketball.
Yeah, that's true.
But Phil Cookman, Reggie Theus is the head coach now. Reggie Theus, did you know that?
Yeah, I do. Mm-hmm.
But there's no roster.
Right.
I think the coaches are listed. He has 2 assistants. I think that's it. No roster. Pine Bluff has a new coaching staff, new head coach, 8 new players. That's listed in a press release. It's not a roster page. Last year's roster is on there. Come on. And they hired him last month. Man, what are you expecting for your team to do this year if you're just bringing people a month before the season starts? It's going to be tough.
That's eye-opening. It really is. It's eye-opening. And, whenever I hear people talk about, HBCUs and all of that, it's like, man, some of the things that they are challenged with, if that was the case at UT, if that was the case at A&M, if that was the case at Rice or U of H, it'd be a whole different story. And I got a lot of respect for, those who, those who are trying to get these programs back on track at these different schools.
Yeah. And basketball is less people than football. You get 6 to 8 talented players who buy in basketball, you should be very good.
Yeah.
Football, you need 20, 25, 30.
Right.
It's less
in
basketball, but it's hard to win in basketball. It's hard to get the attention and recognition for these smaller programs. So and that's another reason why I focus on the bigger programs.
Yeah.
U of H in town, even Rice. Rice does a better job of keeping me informed than TSU, PV, HBU. I got to go. I get the information.
Yeah. You know what? I just wish, and I mean it sincerely when I say it, I just wish a Chris Webber a Jalen Rose, a Juwan Howard, a Jimmy King, and I always forget. I knew his last name was Jackson.
Ray Jackson.
Ray Jackson. I just
yeah.
wish a group like that would get together and say, you know what? We're going over to Howard, or we're going over to Hampton, or we're going over to TSU, and we're going to get with Johnny Jones, and we're going to do our thing there. And I bet you they going to find us over there at TSU.
Oh, yeah. And we can talk about, and kudos to Dr. Charles McClellan, the commissioner of the SWAC, for the agreement that he helped arrange with new Pac-12 commissioner George Kliavkoff for the Pac-12 SWAC agreement, basketball-wise and social justice-wise, where there'll be home and homes.
Mm-hmm.
Where there'll be Pac-12 teams coming to HBC SWAC schools in the next 2-3 seasons. That's big.
Yeah, that is.
But that also shines a light on the lack of resources for the SWAC schools, because the lack of resources impacts your website. If you don't have the staff to get it done, how are you gonna get it done?
Yeah. Oh man, that's sobering, brother. That is really sobering. I am excited about that relationship. It's gonna be great to see in Oregon and USC and UCLA and schools like that come through, and vice versa.
But I challenge the HBCUs, the alums, the fans of those schools, when those Pac-12 programs come to town playing hoops, support your basketball team.
Yeah.
Don't just, well, it ain't football, so I ain't gonna show up.
Yeah. Good point.
Come on now.
Good point.
We gotta support everything. You're an alum of your program, you alum of your school. Support your school when they're playing these, what does my man say? PW, predominantly white institutions.
PWIs.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Come on.
Yep. Yeah, you're gonna make me run down there. You're gonna make me run down there, the third ward, be sitting in that arena. Because will they do it on campus at TSU, or will they move?
They better. Yeah.
I hope they do too. I hope they don't move
TSU
it over to
was
USC.
doing a home and home with Arizona State. Bobby Hurley.
Yeah, that'd be good.
That's good for me. That's fine. But it's a Pac-12 program.
I'll run down there.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that's next season for TSU.
In fact, we going. You and me, we gonna go. Even if we got to buy tickets, we going.
That's fine, as long as the Rockets aren't playing, because basketball-wise, that's
humility. I understand.
But other than that, I'm good with that.
Okay. All right. Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review, local name, global perspective, talking about the relationship between the SWAC and the Pac-12, and it's not just a basketball relationship; it's a social justice.
And hold that thought, brother. I don't mean to interrupt you. We're talking about that arrangement. I go to TSU's basketball page, tsusports.com. It ain't here. The press release announcing that arrangement is not here.
I'm gonna hush.
Because I saw it.
I'm gonna hush.
And maybe it's on TSU Sports, the homepage, but it's not on the men's basketball page.
Yeah, I'm gonna be quiet.
So no, the first thing I see on TSU Sports, I see volleyball news.
Yeah, I'm gonna be quiet. I'm over here. I'm looking at my stocks right now.
So, because I wanted to make sure I had the matchups right for who TSU's playing, who PV's playing, etc. I got to go to swag.org.
Yeah, I gotta hit a commercial. That's what I gotta do. Let me hit a commercial. When I come back, I'm changing the whole complexion of the conversation, because you're the right dude to do it with, and I gotta do it. So we'll be right back. Kris Gardner, Houston Roundball Review on the lunch break. Throwback Thursday. If you got a question for Kris, you know the deal. 281-453-1000. That's 281-453-1000. Or text me 832-403-5005. That's 832-403-5005. Or email it aj@kyoksports.com. Be right back right after this.
1140 AM and 92.3 FM. The legendary KYOK.
Do you have high blood pressure or diabetes? Are you over the age of 65 and covered by Medicare? Then pay close attention to this message. Medicare has introduced some new benefits to help consumers during these cautious COVID-19 times. They realize many of you don't want to leave your home to visit a doctor. So now you can get a remote patient monitoring device shipped to your home at little or no cost to you. Now your doctor can identify your problems in real time, which could potentially save your life. Victory Medical can easily ship this monitoring device directly to your home at little or no cost to you. If you have high blood pressure or diabetes and you're covered by Medicare, make this free call right now to see if you qualify for a new remote patient monitoring device. Call now.
800-213-9527. 800-213-9527. 800-213-9527. That's 800-213-9527.
Do you have a home that you don't want anymore? We can buy it from you within 24 hours, any home, size, or condition. For over 20 years, we've been buying homes for cash and helping homeowners sell their homes immediately, with no listings or strangers walking through your home. Are you moving? Did you lose your job? Going through a divorce? Whatever the reason, if you're in a bind and you know that you need to sell your house fast, call the expert team at I Need to Sell My House Fast. We'll make you a serious cash offer to buy your home in 24 hours and let you walk away from it. No listing, no waiting. Sell any home, any size, any condition now. Call the expert team at I Need to Sell My House Fast. Make this free call now.
800-306-1760. 800-306-1760. 800-306-1760. That's 800-306-1760.
DJ from South Park. I listen to the lunch break with AJ Jones on 1140 AM and 92.3 FM.
All right, y'all, we're back here on the lunch break on the legendary KYOK and the all-new 92.3 FM, streaming live, KYOKradio.org. Listen, don't forget, if you want to get in on the lunch break weekly, keeping up with the Joneses Pick'em Challenge, I got to have your picks by 6:30 p.m. tonight. Email them, aj@kyoksports.com, or text me, 832-403-5005. That's 832-403-5005. Pick all the games starting with tonight through Monday night. And then for the Monday night game, give me the exact score of the game, 25-12, 23-13, whatever you think the final score is going to be for both teams. Give me that, and you can win $50 cash, courtesy of the Hartwell Clinic. I'll tell you more about them. They're sponsoring this week's $50 prize. Man, dude won $50 yesterday, George Griffith. He had 11 right out of 16 games. I've been 12-4 for the last 2 weeks. I'm the Jones that everybody has to keep up with.
So that means you can't win.
I can't win, but boy, I'm sure gonna brag like crazy if I win the whole thing. You ain't gonna never be able to get me to stop talking about. I'll be 99 still talking about 2021 when I went,
I would too.
Man,
real quick. We got the dates. I had to go to the Pac-12 website on my phone to get it.
Don't tell me. Why are you messing with me today?
The window next year is November 10th through 13th. TSU, and those dates has been finalized which exact date would it be, but it will be November 10th through 13th. TSU will host Arizona State. Prairie View will host Washington State. And then 2023, TSU will go to Tempe to return the matchup, and PV will go to Washington State to return the matchup. So yes, so that is part of it. So you and I can buy a ticket. If we don't get a pass, we can go be at HPE, and hopefully, I hope they don't have a TSU and PV hosting Pac-12 schools on the same night. Hopefully,
right. We want to give love up 290 as well as over there in Third Ward. We want to do them all. Yes, sir. Chris Gardner, you all right with me, man? I mean that. You all right with me? All right,
I do what I can.
Let's do what we can real quick. Let's change the conversation real quick. I've been real quiet about what we saw down there on the border with the Haitian people, not refugees, seeking asylum at the Rio Grande border. And your governor decided he gonna roll a bunch of cars down there. And yeah, I used the word roll. I sure did. Gonna roll a bunch of cars down there to block the people seeking asylum, which is their right, to keep them from coming over. Now, before that, we saw people riding on horseback. Did not have whips in their hands, but they were waving the reins around to try to affect the people that they were trying to wrangle and stop from crossing over that particular body of water. Kris, you've been doing this for a while, man. I ain't never seen them go after any other group of people, brown, yellow, white, any other group of people like that. What in the world are we seeing right now, Kris?
People are seeing what people like us, people of African descent, have dealt with for hundreds of years, still deal with all over the world. People that look like us, people, I'm going to stick with it, African descent. Just think about it. England. I mean, that's different countries. Europe, Europe, the continent of Europe, they think of us as less than. They treat us as less than. We try to go to their countries. Oh, we don't want you here. We don't, I mean, I was watching yesterday a match, soccer match, Carabao Cup. Brother, there are so many, and this was, I don't remember who, two teams from the Premier League. So it's English Premier League, okay? So teams based in England. I'm seeing rosters full of people looking like me and you. Full of them. The stands don't look like us.
Right.
Not even close.
Yep.
But you see, read stories, hear about it today, 2021, of the racist taunts still be going, at sporting events overseas, people tossing bananas, all this kind of stuff. So we still deal with that regardless of where we are on this planet.
Yeah.
And it's 2021.
Yep.
And let me be clear. Governor Abbott is one party. Joe Biden is another party. Both parties have mistreated us.
Yeah.
So let's not get that twisted.
And hear me when I say I agree. I absolutely agree, because with one stroke of one pen, Joe Biden could do exactly what he did for the Afghan people that he literally put on a plane and flew them here. But those few Haitian people, and I keep using the word people for a reason, people who are seeking asylum and a better life from their country, which has been ravaged
repeatedly.
Watch this, not just by devastation, but if England gave back the money that it took, that it stole from Haiti, it would be one of the richest nations in the world today.
Yes, sir.
So instead of these 80 people getting the same treatment that almost 100,000 Afghan people got, these folks have been humiliated. They've been treated less than human. They've been literally detained, and then they have been taken and stolen and sent somewhere else again, because many of those folks were not living in Haiti at the time that they decided to cross into the United States, and hadn't been for years.
Right.
But now they made the decision that they got to go back to Haiti.
And I heard this morning some of our people, Haitian people, this is going on in Panama at the Panamanian border. They'll be held there because if they get through there, the, lack of a better term, smugglers, coyotes, human traffickers, they get through there, that's how they wind up in Mexico from Panama, things like that.
Yeah.
But it is just a perpetuation of people treating us as if we are less than.
Yeah.
As if we are not people, as if we are just property, as if we don't breathe the same air that they do.
Yeah. Somebody just called. Let me see who this is. Hello, you live on the lunch break. Who's this?
My brother.
Yeah.
How you doing today?
I'm doing well. And yourself?
I'm fine, thank you. You try. I know you're trying to kiss the voice, so you know.
Yeah, no, I got you, DB. DB, I got you, man. What's going on?
Let me applaud both of you on the diversity that you're offering on this broadcast today. I'm traveling and I've been listening to you all week and online. I'm in San Antonio today, but let me applaud both of you, especially today, AJ, on the show that you have done today regarding the young lady and just the diversity.
Appreciate that, DB. I really do, especially coming from you, man. You've been working in radio a long time. You know good radio, so thank you, brother.
Yeah, I mean, to address the issues that you all have addressed on today, and even because some top 10 stations will not address this, and because they figure this is a sports forum, but we're still human beings, and we're still individuals who and I love what your co-host, what he stated was the fact that now we can understand, but there are those who cannot understand because this is what we're now seeing in life, and it's just really the truth of the matter. It's almost contrasting to what the title of what's the book the young lady wrote about.
How bad do you want it? How bad do you want it?
And see, that's the same thing. They want it bad enough to the point that they'll make that move for a better life.
Yeah.
But then you have adversity because you don't realize the fact I'm trying, and then just the statement that you made, if the government had gave them back the money that they took from them, they would be one of the richest countries in the world.
Yep.
But anyway, let me apply. I had initially said I was going to call because I was asking questions about the Rockets, but it's not important. You've already touched, and I'm like you. I'm full today, and I just want to tell you that I thoroughly enjoyed the show today, and that the favor of God be upon you as you continue to go and offer that real. Allow me to say this: that real radio, not that just to try to please the people radio, but that real radio, and you continue to do that real radio. You understand? It's going to touch the hearts of people. That's what it's all about.
DB Cook, I appreciate you, man. You and Lady Alana, be safe out there, all right?
All right, much love to you, my brother.
All right, love you too. Love you too. DB Cook, really one of the founders of our radio family network over at KWWJ. But man, that's really what it's about, because what's interesting is our stadiums and our arenas look just like that. You got predominantly folks that look like us on the field and on the court, but look at a basketball game. Look at a basketball game in Detroit, and look at how many faces don't look like us on the stand. Look at a basketball game in Oakland, and look at how many don't look like us. Look at a basketball game in Brooklyn, and look at how many don't look like in Atlanta. You see more faces like ours, yes, but the predominant number is not, and the number on the basketball court is. So you got people that they'll pay money to see us entertain, but they don't want to give a dime to have us come over and live.
Right, and that's what it is. They want us to entertain them. That's all they think we are. They don't believe that we're human beings. They don't believe that we have lives. They don't believe that we have families, children. We have the same goals and aspirations they do, that they want for their kids. They just think of us as less than.
And Kris, I don't want to hear that closed borders and protecting the borders and all that, because when it's people that they want, because both sides were fighting. And I'm not saying that the Afghan people should not have asylum here. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying don't do that for 95,000 Afghanis who are looking for a better life, and you can't do it for a couple of thousand of Haitians that are looking for a better life. So I don't want to hear this left and right nonsense, because both sides will do it when it looks good and when it benefits them. but this don't look good. We're gonna bring more black folks in, you know, like your lieutenant governor say, that those black people more than likely gonna vote Democrat, and then you're gonna have people taking over our power because we let them into the country. That's ridiculous, man.
And real quick on what that man said, rather than have political policies that benefit those black people, he's already made up his mind that what we do, they don't agree with.
Right.
So we don't want them here.
Yeah.
Rather than having policies that benefit them. That's what he's saying.
Yeah. I'm looking for the owners of the Cowboys, the Texans, the Spurs, the Rockets, the Rangers, the Dallas Stars, there's women's basketball up there in Dallas. I'm looking for them to say something. Wings. I'm looking for them to say something. I'm looking for them to say something. But I already know what's going to happen, what's not going to happen. But I'm still looking.
Okay.
I'm still looking because, you know, it's all about this, and all sports should just be this, just be that. Don't say nothing when it benefits you, and you can't say nothing when it. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it alone. Kris, tell everybody where they can find you and follow you, my brother.
That's what they do. I'm Kris Gardner of the Houston Roundball Review. Been doing this since 1994. Flying solo, doing this because of beliefs like that. I don't hold my tongue, so some folks don't like that. Whatever. That's why I appreciate each Thursday you give me the time to talk to you with the platform. Much love, as always, for you to give me this platform to share with the family. I'm doing a Rockets talk, and kind of trite to say now, but tonight, 8:30 on my YouTube channel and Facebook page, but HoustonRoundballReview.com, Houston Roundball Review on YouTube, Houston Roundball Review on Instagram, Twitter, the HR Review, Houston Roundball Review, local name, global perspective.
Kris, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you. Have a great rest of your evening. And again, have a great show tonight. I'll be at the Texans game, and we'll see if Davis Mills, the new face of the Texans, can get them a win. I don't think so. But anyway, Kris, you take care. We'll talk to you next week, bro.
Man. Love you.
Love you too, man. Love you too. I know that wasn't what a lot of y'all wanted to hear. I know y'all want to focus on this and focus on that. But I'm sorry. At the end of the day, you know what? I am black. Yes, I'm a pastor. Yes, I'm a radio announcer. Yes, I'm an author. Yes, I'm a number of different things. I sit on a couple of different boards for organizations and what have you. But at the end of the day, I'm black. And I will never stop being black. And watch this, I'll never forget I'm black. And when I see what happened down there at the border, I see me. I see my children. I see my family. Maybe you don't look at it like that. But I got a better chance to be in that situation than a lot of people who don't like me talking about this. So if you're not going to say nothing and do nothing, I have to. Governor Abbott, President Biden, do better. Do better. Dan Patrick, shut up. You're racist. You ain't helping nobody. Shut up. Ted Cruz. Anyway, Donnie McClurkin up next. We'll be back tomorrow, Freestyle Friday. Y'all take care. Let's not be divided. Let's be united. I love you. There's nothing you can do about it.